Welcome back. Today I'll be reviewing a practice management software. So if you're a psychologist, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a physician, massage therapist, acupuncturist, chiropractor, it's likely that if you see clients one-on-one that you will need a practice management software, meaning a software that holds all of your client data, allows you to see clients if you do telehealth, help you store all this data all in one place. Let's get into it. Whether you've been in the field for a while or you're relatively new to the field, stay tuned, you might learn something new. It took me a while to find a practice management software that truly worked for me and my clients. I've noticed that a lot of them, they're really good on the client-facing end. It's very user-friendly because clients are technically limited in what they could see. They can't see their client data, they can't see all the stuff that we see. A lot of times they will see their appointments, notes, and stuff like that. But on the psychologist end or the mental health professional end, we have a lot to manage. There's a lot of notes and a lot of documentation. It seems endless. I think I'm saying this because I have a couple of notes pending that I need to finish. Should get on that. I don't know if you've heard of Jane app. That's the practice management software that I'm going to be reviewing today. And when I was doing this review, it was actually really fun because I learned all these new features that I did not even know existed before. So it was a really good learning experience for me and I want to share it with you. I want to take some time and get into some of the features that I love about Jane. Jane is a practice management software that can help you essentially manage your practice. It has a whole suite of features that makes it so easy to meet with individuals, couples, families, and groups. And like I mentioned before, Jane isn't only for mental health professionals. I love how diverse Jane is because one of the things that my colleagues and I talk about all the time is group practices that are multidisciplinary. So if you're someone who owns a group practice and you do want to have a psychiatrist come in or you do want an acupuncturist to come in, you could even have all of the notes and everything all in one place. Clients can even schedule their own appointments, and I'm going to show you some screen recordings as we go on. As I do this, I just want you to know that all of these client names are fictitious. They're not real people, they're not based on real people. All of this client data has been completely made up, just so that you know that no client data will be shared in this video. This does not represent actual client data and is purely for educational purposes only. If I didn't make up fake clients and we didn't have fake clients, then it'd be hard to show you the features. Let's get started. Jane's online booking software is so easy and user-friendly. Super easy to navigate too.
As you can see here, there are two different clinics on this demo site. The first is the Village, second is the District. This client wants the Village, so you can see there's acupuncture, there's physical therapy, and here's mental health. So they could click a subsequent visit, an initial visit, group counseling, or an online video session. So you click there, you look at the provider's schedule, looks like 7 p.m. is it, so you would click book or I'm done. Really depends on the availability. Clients could keep searching. You could also search for the next couple of days as well. So it looks like there's more availability and the client can choose. Then when you go back, you could view availability by the month if you'd like. And so you could scroll and potentially look for other providers that the client might want to see. Being we're talking about booking, if you're a group practice owner, there's this nifty feature. You could see all of your staff, all the different disciplines that you have, acupuncture, therapy, and then you can just click on one. You could see all of your staff for counseling, also see all the days that they're available and all of the time slots.
There's another feature about Jane. It seems pretty simple, but I did want to highlight it because I feel like it would make my life so much easier if I saw clients in person. I'm strictly telehealth right now, but I did want to highlight this for folks who see clients in real life. There's this feature that administrative staff and receptionists can access to alert the provider that the client has arrived, that they've paid, they have outstanding balances right off the jump. So instead of walking all the way down to the provider's office or the provider walking all the way to the waiting room to kind of check in if their client is here or not, they could continue to do their documentation, as we know is pretty excessive for us. Not excessive, but necessary. Actually, it's necessary. It just feels like a lot. If we let it go, I digress. Anyways, they can alert the provider by just clicking arrived. And on the provider end, they know, oh, client is here. They can also click no show, and they could also click the pay button. The clinician does not have to worry, did the client pay? Are they here? Did they no show? Because they'll see it. And then it almost streamlines the whole process because then if the client no shows, the provider can, write the no show note and then maybe catch up on other notes. Or if they've arrived, they might be able to take the client early, or they might at least know what to expect instead of having to leave their office and walk back and forth.
So here's that feature that I was talking about. So here is the scheduling view, and you could look at any appointment, click it, and click arrive or no show. I think this is just so nifty for clinicians so that you don't have to keep walking back and forth, and you could also pay right there. So as the client shows up or they're leaving, you could take payment right there, either administrative assistance or clinicians themselves. And the one thing I love is that you could just generate a super bill right here. What about groups? If you see group counseling here, Gertrude and Maureen on the bottom right are both arrived, one paid. And then you could also click Gertrude and see all of her information here. Obviously, this is all made up, but you could see groups, you could see her date of birth. You could also see her next visits, especially if you're seeing multiple providers in one clinic. Good old charting. So let's look at charting and documentation. So as you could see, these are all made up. You can make up any sort of notes that you want, SOAP note, DAP note, whatever it is. You could click new chart entry on the top right, and all of this will populate things that are specific to your practice, which we'll talk about a little later. So you could click on chief complaint, you could type some stuff in that might be more geared towards medical professionals, but you could also do screeners like the PHQ-9, good old screener for depression. And this is a Likert scale, and you could just click the ones that the client says, and you could track progress for depression right there. I love this. I love, love, love that you could track progress here. Let's talk about templates. So you would click on your staff profile. So we clicked on Maya, and Maya has a bunch of different documentation notes and assessment files available to her. So you click edit, you could add all these different things. You could change them. You could put check boxes. You could put bullet points. You could really put whatever you want in here just to make your life easier for doing your own notes. And if you look at treatments, these are all the treatments that she offers. You could add and take them away. And on the right, you could see that you can make them active or inactive. And a good old SOAP note. If you're a mental health professional, you've definitely heard of this one. So you could click edit. And as you can see, there's check boxes, individual, family. Consent's very important. So we want to make sure that written consent was obtained. We could check that box or however you want to do it. And you could also edit any of these. It's amazing. So you could take out different modalities, you could substitute them in based on the ones that you normally use the most. And I love the presenting concerns. So every client will have something different, and you could type in really whatever you want. I just love how, obviously I can't spell hello, I just love how easy this is. As we know, there is so much time and effort that goes into managing your practice, so work smarter, not harder. So I love the fact that these notes are able to be changed based on you as a human, you as a professional. Everybody does notes differently. Everybody has a different process. So I love the fact that I can trust Jane with my notes.
Now let's get to reports. This is one of my favorite features in Jane. Obviously share my screen again with you, but as a business owner and a psychologist, I personally think that reports are so incredibly important, because then you could not only track client data, but if you have clinicians working with you, you could also track what they're doing too in a really good way. If you notice, wow, this provider has been seeing all of these clients and it seems like their schedule is really overbooked, then you could have a conversation with them. They could also have a conversation with you and show you all the data. Hey, these are all the clients that I saw today. I think I might need to, move some clients, or I might need to not see as many clients each day. So I'm going to show you a couple of the reports that Jane offers.
And here are the reports. You go to your staff profile. So we're going to look at Maya's, and we're going to click on patient list. So there's patient reports, appointment reports, billing reports. And see here with the patient list, you can see every single patient that you have, all of their information. Obviously, this is made up, as I said before. You could also look at potential duplicates. I think that this is so helpful because sometimes duplicates happen. Sometimes we don't realize that we put client data in twice, and then sometimes our notes are in two different places. It could just get very confusing. In terms of notes, as you write notes and as they populate, it's always nice to know if they're locked and signed or not, and that'll pop up here. You could also look at patient appointments. So if you look, you could see where they were booked, who they're seeing, all of that stuff. Patient retention, that's another report that I think is really helpful, just so that if you're a group practice owner, you can see the turnover rate with returning clients and not. And sometimes this depends on the discipline. Sometimes it depends on the location. Sometimes it really has to do with accessibility as well. Ratings and reviews. So this was a new feature that I didn't know existed. Clients can rate their providers, and obviously this isn't public. This doesn't go into a public platform by any means, but it really helps you track progress. And then this is scheduled hours / booked. You could see for the village or the district, meaning two different places. You could also see the provider and how much they're booked. Like I mentioned before, sometimes providers are overbooked and overwhelmed, and it's good to see what they're doing, to see if we could give them breaks and stuff. Okay, billing. If you are a group practice owner or a practice owner, this is super helpful. This is helpful for me because as I just trained to be a clinician, not a business owner. So this is really good to see how much money that you're making versus how much you should budget versus how much is your take home. We have to pay the bills, right? A lot of us have to pay student loans too. So you could also see by staff member. Depending on the person and depending on what type of service that they provide, you could see how much they've made. And I know sometimes we feel weird about talking about money in group practice and private practice, but it is very important because we, again, have to pay the bills and we have to be able to see our clients and not be burned out. So you could see compensation reports as well if you have clinicians working with you or next to you, or if you have interns, and you could see how much their take home is. In mental health, we don't really do tips. And while the compensation report is helpful, you can also see payouts, meaning when clinicians should be paid, how much they'll be paid, and when they will be paid. So you could see here the report is generated for a certain week. You could also see activity. This is really great in terms of looking at what your clinicians are doing and what you are doing. So you could see what you've viewed, see what you've opened. It's also really, really great if you're kind of going through notes and making sure that things are signed. It could also show when somebody signed in to sign a note.
While this review is by no means an extensive review, there are so many other features that Jane offers. These are just a few that I love. Jane has captured a lot of feedback from the behavioral health community. And based on that feedback, they've built all of these features for our community. They're so personable and helpful whenever it comes to questions, concerns, comments, and feedback. I love when a practice management software is made with us professionals in mind. Other things to consider: Jane is HIPAA compliant. You'll have access to telehealth and in-person sessions. And there's outcome measure surveys. We like to know how clients are doing, and we like to assess progress, at least I do. So you can manage your practice all in one without having to leave Jane. You can learn more about Jane at jane.app/mentalhealth-us. Use code Dr. Casey Mode 2 for a 2-month grace period on your Jane account. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, like, share with anybody that you think might love this, pop it in the group chat, and I will see you next time.